Tutar. A frequently asked question I get, does home brewing smells? Does it smells to brew your own beer at home? Well, yes, it kind of smells. But is it a bad smell or is it a good smell? How does it smell at the different stages of home brewing? And yeah, is there anything we can do about that if we actually get bothered by the smell? Let's get into that. I'm Dr. Hans and this is DrHansBrewery.com, my channel about beer and home brewing. So I have been working on my website and yeah, I have my blog and also I have a frequently asked question page. And yeah, I thought this question could go there, but then I thought maybe it's a little bit more complex. So I decided to write an article about it and also why not make another video. Speaking of the website, if you head over to my website drhansbrewery.com and sign up for my mailing list, you will get my ebook for free. 3 of my top recipes for you to try to brew at home. How awesome isn't that? So, does home brewing smell? Yes, it does. Does it bother me? No, not really, but yeah, it could bother somebody. So let's get into it. The first stage of brewing a beer is the mash. And from the mash we could get like biscuity, bready, porridge, malty, sweet notes. To me it smells good, but I brew outside all year long and I've heard that some homebrewers has got complaints from their significant others, so yeah. Also later in this video gonna talk about how you can reduce the different smells at the different stages of the brewing process, so stay on. So the next stage we have the boiling, and yeah, at boiling we can get kind of the same notes, that's sweetness, bready, biscuity, and also from the additions we add to the boil, like hops or spices. And of course there's also a lot of moisture because there's a lot of evaporation when boiling. So we're also going to talk about what we can do to minimize the smell when boiling. Let's go on to the next part. The fermentation. The fermentation, you can have a lot of different smells, and this depends on what beer you are brewing, what ingredients got into the beer and what kind of yeast you fermented, and of course which temperature you ferment at. So you could have banana notes, you can have apple notes, you could have like butterscotch, apple, ripe fruits. And if you're going like a sour route, you can even have like a vinegar, baby vomit, and yeah, if you're doing a cold fermented lager, you could have sulfur, rotten eggs. So there's a lot of variety there. The 3 different stages when beer smells while homebrewing is the mash, the boil, and the fermentation process. Let's talk about how we can reduce these smells if we want to. Well, you could brew outside like I do, or you can brew in like a garage or a spare room, something like that. You can hook up a fan, a ventilation, trying to get the smells out. You can also mash in a sealed container by not splashing during mashing. If you're circulating, try to circulate gently at a slow pace and always keep your hose mouth under the wort surface. You can also cover the surface with like a plastic wrap, something like that. And actually by paying a little more attention how you mash your beer, you can end up with a better beer. Because all of that smell, that's actually, you're just losing aroma. So try your next brew, see if you can minimize the smell of mashing just for fun, even if it doesn't bother you. Then we have the boil. Yet again, you could boil outside, or you could boil in a separate area where you can open up windows and doors. A good ventilated area, because there's a lot of evaporation, so you really need to get the steam out. Another trick is not to boil your wort as hard. The only thing you do is to further oxygenate your wort, and yeah, you will end up with a darker beer. So a slow simmer is all you need. You don't need a big, massive rolling boil. You should never boil in a closed pot, because there are some compounds that you want to get rid of when boiling, but it ain't so hard to get rid of them. So slow simmer is all you need. You don't need a big rolling boil, a massive evaporation. And you could also consider doing a no boil, but that's of course ain't for all beer styles, but yeah, you should give it a try at least once if you're into homebrewing. You could also put like a big fan cup and lead the steam away by putting it out from a window or your ventilation. Be experimental, or do as I do, boil outdoors. Okay, the fermentation, and here you can have a lot of different smells depending on your wort ingredient and of course your yeast and the temperature you're fermenting in. The rotten egg we were onto earlier is when you're fermenting with lager yeast at cold temperature, and the most of us don't do that in our living room or kitchen. You need like a spare fridge, something like that, but yeah, that could smell, so you could think about not doing that. If you're doing like a wheat beer, you can get a lot of banana and cloves. Most fermentations are very fresh smelling, so I like the smell of it, but yeah, maybe it's not for everyone. And I ferment most of my beers in my brew shed, but I've never been actually bothered by the smell of fermenting a beer in the kitchen. So if you can, try to ferment in the garage, or even like put it in somewhere away from other people, in a closet, something like that. If you want to really get crafty. Here's an idea for you. Take a pot, a closed pot, fill it half up with star sand. Take one hose from your fermenter down into the pot. You have to drill 2 holes in the lid of the pot. The hose from the fermenter goes down under the water line, star sand line, and the second hose goes also into the pot, but this goes into the airspace, and that way you can lead off the gases. If you're going very far, I should go up in diameter so we don't make a compression, but you could try that out. Also, you could be like a fermentation chamber and have the air getting filtered. So you could really like dig into it. But as I was on to earlier, this has never been a problem for me. So even if you live in a small apartment, I wouldn't let the smell of the brewing process stop you from getting into home brewing. Try it out, see if it is a problem first before you make any like drastic solutions. So tell me about your experience of smell during the brewing process. Does it bother you? Does it bother someone in your house and your surrounding? Let us know. If you are new to my channel, consider becoming a subscriber. Do hit that little bell and give this video a thumbs up. And of course, check out my website for my free ebook. So cheers guys, and thanks for watching. DrHans out.